Hi, are you looking for home care services, nanny, childcare services, before and after school care, garden maintenance and aged care services? Well, stay tuned because I have the person that you need to meet. It's Stephanie Tate from Henrietta's Help at Home. Welcome to another episode of On the Couch with McNeill Real Estate. My name is Janet and today I'm absolutely delighted to introduce Stephanie Tate from Henrietta's Help at Home.
Thank you.
So welcome, Stephanie.
Thanks, Janet.
Now, Stephanie's business is providing a range of home help services from baby and child care, nannies, cleaning, hospitality and senior support.
Thank you, yes.
Good, excellent. So firstly, tell us a little bit about yourself, Stephanie, and your background.
Yes, thanks, Janet. I arrived at this as sort of a full circle. My generation of women were offered teaching and nursing. Mm-hmm. I knew I couldn't do nursing. Would have been happy to be a surgeon, but you can't sort of jump in.
Yeah, no.
Yes. So, as so many, I went teaching, but knew it wasn't a long-term career. Mm-hmm. I'm originally from Western Australia, and so it's not hard to get involved in the mining industry. And I had the opportunity to go into the financial markets, initially capital markets, and then share trading at the corporate level. That travelled me around Australia and working to international companies. So I did that for a considerable time. And then when I needed to get out of those markets, having experienced things like 3 interstate transfers in 2 years, yep. Accompanied with 2 takeovers during that and those sort of things, it is a burnout industry.
Yes.
It's ready for change. I did it by steps, project management, consulting, that sort of thing. But over time, yes, I needed to return to the human services. And so while I was just finding my way, I went back to doing what we all did at university, and that was babysitting, nannying, bit of hospitality work. And I was lucky enough that I joined an agency then in St Kilda when I lived up in the burbs. They had a couple of divisions. And over time, I realised, one, the potential for family services, and also by then I was ready to no longer be a city bird. Yep. I'd always lived right on top of the cities because my lifestyle was being at work at 7 a.m. till whenever. And I checked out Ballarat and the Peninsula as areas with population growth, and of course the wonderful Peninsula one, hands down.
Of course.
And in particular, young families, often without extended family.
Yes.
Population growth, increasing retirees. So my business model, taking those areas that you introduced, existed here. And yes, I moved down. I could only go as far as Frankston South initially, where I still am running the business from a home office, but I service from there the full south through the peninsula. Yeah. And yes, always looking for new staff as well as new clients.
Yep, and, that's fantastic.
And loving it.
Yeah, fantastic. So obviously you've moved to the Mornington Peninsula, and I've known you for a long time now.
Yes.
So tell me, what is it about the Mornington Peninsula that you love the most?
I hope it doesn't get too populated. Yes.
We're well on the way right now, unfortunately.
Yes.
Yep.
I hope the planning respect will be there. Yes, look, I'm driving around a lot because I have a high priority on meeting clients, but I also interview staff near their home.
Yes.
And so I'm on the road a lot. That is no hardship. No. Beautiful scenery.
Course. Yep.
The wonderful, whether it's the natural woodlands or the green lungs.
Yes.
And I just hope that we will protect that going forward. But yes, the diversity of population, there isn't anything you can't do or get on the peninsula. I still had a big commitment back to the city when I started. It was easy. I've got 3 freeways, literally
Yes,
free,
yes.
and a highway.
Yes.
I could always make it to appointments up there. And it's the same on the peninsula. You know, you're using major roads all
Yes.
the time,
Yep.
well planning. I love roundabouts.
Yes.
Having spent my last few years up in the city with level crossings.
Yes.
Oh gosh, that was so good to get away from. So yes,
fantastic.
I'm in love with the peninsula.
Yeah, that's
long
brilliant.
term.
Good. And why did you decide to create Henrietta's Help at Home?
Yeah, as I was saying, those two, and I did get the stats on the population growth and those specific areas. I could see that model I was interested in. One, there was a need. At that time, there wasn't another agency, because I'm an agency, offering that across the family interest. So it's not just the nuclear family. If you establish the relationship with the nuclear family, you often extend to the parents, grandparents.
Yes.
And once you're known in the extended family, yes, that's when the hospitality bookings can come in for the Ruby anniversaries, the weddings, because as you know, we
Yes.
also specialise in wedding nannies and
Yes.
now wedding carers for those seniors. Both those areas are very busy and always staffed by people who really know the needs of that particular client. But yes, I call it cross-fertilising.
Sounds like a great description.
Yes, because once we really get to know our client, there is that opportunity for either us to inform them of the other services or they knowing
them.
it, yes, through the website or the Facebook posting, will ask for the other services as they need them. So, yes, it was designed because at my age and in a region where I didn't know very many people, to start a business, that was going to be a big challenge.
Yes.
I didn't want to take 5 to 10 years. I needed my business to
Fast track.
be able to generate its own message.
Yep. No, I think you've done a brilliant job of that.
Thanks, Janet.
Now, obviously, what is it, and you've sort of touched on it a little bit, but what is it that's unique about your business? Because there are a lot of people that will provide nanny services or home help services. There's a lot of facilities right now that allow the aged, older seniors to be able to stay at home rather than going into care, which obviously is something that I'm passionate about, of helping them in my business.
Yes.
And I'm aware of, all these services. So what is it that's kind of making you more unique than anyone else down here?
Yeah. I'd like to hope that is coming from our ethos of offering very personalised service.
Yep.
There's no cookie cutter for any one of those services. There's no standard nanny, there's no standard senior support. Every job is documented specifically. And so it can be a cooking nanny, or one that you and I were talking about a while ago. Some of our seniors are on their own only occasionally. Like I've got a couple of women who have husbands who travel for their business. One of them has got MS, so it's not just that she shouldn't be on her own in case of falls. She also can't do things like make a bed and things like that. But the companionship's very important.
Yes.
So in that job, yes, there's some residential cleaning going on, but every 45 minutes, the staff member, and we try to make it the same one each time, that it goes and attends there, stops, has a cup of coffee, a cold drink, might take her to a local cafe. So there's an outing, there's the companionship.
Yes.
So every job is individual, even with the nannies, vastly different. And because it's into private homes, I can't just send someone who is experienced or qualified as a nanny to the under 1-year-olds.
Right.
As different from 8 and 9-year-olds or the teenagers after school. So every job is tailored and matched to a staff member. It probably, anyone who's sort of doing business at a younger age than me is probably not going to immediately identify with my next comment, but I don't want my business to get too big.
Yes.
Because at the moment, I go and meet the client, I take the staff member there to introduce them, because often I might have up to half a dozen phone calls with a client before we start the job.
Yes.
I want to meet them, I want to introduce the staff member. It's a relationship.
Yes.
And the bigger the business gets, I can't maintain that.
No.
And that's where my enjoyment is.
Yes.
And, you know, the staff are equally important as the clients and to the agency.
Mm-hmm.
I always say to people, unless all three are happy, it's not working. So I don't want my business to get to a size where I can't keep that, because I'm not down here profit driven. It's also a reason why I'm not corporatising. It is an agency. It's got flexibility for the staff, and it's a relationship based client situation.
Okay, that sounds really good. So from that aspect, with your staff, you were sort of explaining to me just before that you have staff that are sort of full-time, part-time with only a certain number of hours, or that you can call upon for a particular job if it's something that existing staff either are already booked out or don't have the skills for.
Yes.
So how does that kind of work? How do you, where do you get your staff from, and how does that tie in?
Yeah, that's a great question, and again, I do think it's the nature of Henrietta's. The majority of my staff are part-time, and that's a mutual choice. So that might mean it's women who still got children at home. There are so many single parent families. There are a lot of people who are studying, and that doesn't mean they're 18 and 19.
Yes.
So much
Mature age students, yes.
And even University of the Third Age, because I have to, because people are going to private homes on their own, which is again why the regulatory aspects are very, very important with my staff selection. It's not just police checks and things like that. It's the skills add-on. The majority of my staff have got strong first aid training, and these days they've got COVID certificates, because that's a very strong interest of mine in prevention of cross-contamination.
That was something I was going to bring up. You know, we've all just gone through, and we're still going through COVID-19. How has that affected your business?
It meant just a small upward step of a new skilling to get that specific prevention of cross-contamination infection control certificate. It was always in our procedures and protocols, whether it be nannying, the senior work, and often our seniors have come out of hospital, they might have had surgery, or they've had pneumonia, so awareness of those things. But see, from just plain residential cleaning from the beginning, there's always been disinfecting, as different from sanitising, which can sometimes just be for nice smells. But there's been disinfecting of high touch points, bacteria points like door handles and light switches. It's our standard service now. Apart from that, my staff and I will still retain masks long term. I'm protecting my staff, and you know, we don't know what goes on in homes, but often with the client, like the client I've come from this morning, that person's on chemotherapy. My staff must go in there with a mask on, and work with gloves and things, and so yes, the knowledge in that area, and having that trust in the staff to be conscious. With our senior support, our duty of care is to give feedback. With some of our seniors who are deteriorating, I've just recently implemented fortnightly reports because you end up in that grey area of the client who originally appointed you may not necessarily continue to be the decision maker. So we're now liaising with a family member, and I've introduced fortnightly reports where I feel it's our duty of care. So it's not just our duty of care to the client, it's my duty of care to my staff member, that they're not left in a position where there might be a comeback as to how did a situation happen because it's health related.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and that again is why I'm saying it's terribly personalised.
Yes.
And even once we've got a job, it might be evolving.
Yes.
And that's the satisfaction.
Yeah,
it's the satisfaction for the staff. It's the satisfaction for me.
Yeah.
And I do hope we can continue with this ethos.
Yeah. Oh, you must have some amazing stories of how you've helped people, and it's as you say, it's not just a cleaning job.
No.
Or it's not just a nanny job. You sort of get into the family a little bit more and provide that extra bit of service.
Yes.
So, in relation to the employment, who would be an ideal staff member for you?
Probably with a degree of sadness, I've had to become a little bit skewed towards being biased towards older people. Mm-hmm. Now, as it happens in the economy now, where we know return to work women and over 35s may be disadvantaged, please come and talk to me. But I've learnt by experience that, because in my past, and particularly when I was doing project management and things of that nature, I used to favour giving young people a go. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in fact, one of the corporate briefs I had, it was specified I had to take new graduates into quite a sophisticated project that we were doing at the time. But by experience down here, and because they're in a private home, there's no colleague, there's no supervisor, things can happen.
Yes.
But on the other side, it was an issue where, sadly, with young people, life's experience has to be learned by living.
Yes, that's right. It's very important.
And either there was a bit of an issue with unreliability when, social life or exams or things like that came up. But now it is that question of being able to relate to situations and carry on, make contact with me. And again, young people, sadly, there's a lot of bullying in the workplace. They had a skill set that was don't tell if something goes wrong, whereas older people realise, more mature experience.
You need to talk about it,
you got it resolved. You got to, because either they need some support or they need to be protected from a situation where it could end up being litigation. So yes, women who've got family, who want part-time work, and then I've just had the most outstanding nanny working in a disability area. Men are always welcome, but yes, women who want part-time work in school hours or just a few days a week, most welcome.
Contact. Terrific. So how do people find you?
I have a website under the name Henrietta's Help at Home and a very active Facebook page. I do my own posting, my own social media.
And you do it very well.
Thank you. Never like paying someone else to do something I can do. Now, that also you would see if you go onto either of those sites. They're pretty unsophisticated, but yes, it's family friendly.
It's the message
I did not want to be seen as flashy and high tech. No, we're people based and of all walks of life and all personalities. I post probably on up to 15 different sites per week, both regionally and to interest groups. And yes, I'm out and about. I bump into people in coffee shops or petrol stations, and when we chat, I know to carry a business card. And I do conventional advertising as well, like print media. Particularly because, yes, I still deal with some people who've only got landlines, albeit one of the services we can connect to is encouraging older people to have mobile phones and be a bit tech savvy. Just for their own safety. But there was no point in me only having internet access. It's a different market.
That's true. Very true. So, Stephanie, what do you do when you're not working?
I'm in the funny situation where I think I'm actually starting the business again for the third time. COVID being most recent, and then just unfortunately my second year of business, as you know, Janet, I had a pretty major health incident, so that plateaued the business. So I'm now back to, and currently it is a 6 or 7 day a week job, and that's because wedding nannies, hospitality are going to be weekend, and interviewing people who are transitioning. I'm pleased to say some of the senior carers, some of the childcare nannies are coming out of the organisations because they do want the more personal relationships. So I do interview on the weekend and things like that, but once the business, when the jigsaw pieces are in place, I do get the odd day off here and there, or afternoon off, and that's where I just get to enjoy the peninsula. I'm gradually getting to cover
learn all the spots.
Yes, I've restrained myself on wineries, albeit I know where they are. I come from or related to Western Australian wine. But art galleries, just the scenery. Just loving it, and I'm always taking a long time coming home from my appointments because I like to try a different ride.
That's a good idea. That's fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us, Stephanie.
Thanks,
it's been great
Janet.
to learn more about you and your business.
Thank you.
And I hope everything moves forward and you're a great success.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes another episode of On the Couch with McNeill Real Estate. Stay tuned on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe and stay tuned for more videos. Bye for now.